For the first person, they talked about being older than the other kids in the class and feels that the other kids that are younger are smarter than him. This is something that's difficult a lot of times in life that you might find yourself in, and it is difficult. It's a struggle to be an older individual in the class and not be as smart. I personally have had this experience as well. Mostly actually in church every Sunday. It feels like the kids that are younger than me, when I was teaching a youth class for Sunday school, they were smarter than me, but it's just one of those things in life that we understand that we all have our strong suits, and that might not be one of those strong suits. Um, but I encourage you and um, maybe think about some other ways that you could maybe try to boost yourself up in those areas that maybe you lack. But just continue to have a positive attitude and all that. The second person talked about it's hard to function since the girl's been gone and she can't leave her house. There are times in life where it's really difficult for us to get past something. I know from my own experience, um, having a friend no longer talk to you is something that's difficult, and it seems like it may never end. The pain and the struggles that you have, but it's always important to remember that there are other people out there, especially when it comes to friends and the friend groups. But I would encourage you to look at other options for friends, as well as think of maybe some ways that you could improve your own day to day life. Person number three says she wants to give up and is saying that it's just a grade. What makes you think those thoughts? What makes you have the feeling to give up and to just accept maybe the C grade or the D grade, and even the F grade, if you're thinking about giving up wholeheartedly on school because it's already paid for? This is not something that, of course, should be done, and I think any professor would tell you that as well. Person number four, marriage is hard and heard it was great, but wasn't expecting it to be so difficult. There's a stigma, I think, and if that's the correct word to use, that a lot of people say that get married, it's super easy, it's a good time. I can say that two of those things, of those three, are correct. It's marriage is not easy. That was the wrong one. In my own personal life, I have seen the trials and challenges that come from being married, but I also have seen the blessings that come from that. Such as having two beautiful children. That's not something that you can do by yourself. What are maybe some ways that you can improve your life and in your marriage that might be beneficial for you, and maybe why you're feeling so difficult? Have you talked to your spouse about that? Person number five says that she's 2 weeks away from being married, isn't sure if she's ready. This is something that I feel kind of in the middle about. For myself, I knew I was ready to get married to my spouse. My wife, on the other hand, was struggling. So this is something that I've kind of had a little experience with, kind of helping my wife. At the time, she was my fiance. Just kind of push forward and remember what we were doing is correct and what we were doing was right. It's hard to make change. Um, that's my experience with that. I would encourage you to look for ways that um, maybe you can find the reasons why you wanted to get married in the first place, why you said yes, and maybe what are some of the reasons why you're contemplating this. Is there some self doubt? Is there some other issues that might be going through? I would definitely talk to your fiance going forward. Person number six feels terrible about or terrified about the operation and doesn't want to deal with the recovery process. Why are you feeling that way? Why do you feel like the recovery process is more difficult than the surgery itself? Is it because you're out due to anesthesia, things like that, maybe that covers a long road? Why are some ways that you're thinking that? I can't personally relate, but I can say, having been around people that have had surgeries, that it's an uphill battle no matter which route you take. And the last one, person number seven, says time heals everything, but she can't get over her husband, even though it seems that others have. What is something that you feel is difficult for you personally to get over with the loss of your spouse? Is there something that you think that you might be able to do differently to help your own personal self deal with the loss of your loved one. I have a lot of personal experience about this, unfortunately, and it is difficult to get over the loss of a loved one. But I can say that as long as we hold to the rod of the gospel and be able to understand and truly believe the plan of salvation and where we're going and why we're here, it'll definitely help you in your life. But I definitely would think of ways that you might be able to maybe improve your self esteem or think of some options of what you can do to help yourself. I hope that all helps.